This is the second part of a two-part conversation about one of Gordon Lightfoot's songs. You can find part one of this episode at www.lightfootpodcast.com, along with the rest of our episodes. I hope you enjoy the conclusion of the conversation between me and my guest. Thank you in advance for listening.
The first guest of the evening is truly a poet. He's an artist. He is a friend and an inspiration to anyone who I think who has ever played the guitar or tried to write poetry. Would you please welcome Gordon Lightfoot?
What about songs that are challenging for you to sing, not so much necessarily because they grab you emotionally, but because they're either maybe out of your vocal range or it's kind of a tongue twister with the lyrics? Is there a Lightfoot song that you've had trouble singing in performance?
Well, we've never done the auctioneer.
Okay.
I've never touched it. I think it's too complicated. I'll never remember it. And I'm not even going to go there. We have 76 songs that we can choose from. Now, out of that, we're going to do maybe 20, 21 songs, in a normal concert. Out of the 76, there's a few that I think we've tried and we just didn't think had the right sound, the right feel to it. Dream Street Rose was one that we wanted to do and that we did for a while. And after 1 year of doing it, it just kind of fell out and we just didn't think it had the same feel that the other ones did. We never could seem to get that one to be as perfect as we would have liked it to have been. There are others that we really, really enjoy, that we have a lot of fun with. Blackberry Wine, we have a lot of fun doing that. Waiting for You, I like doing that. The ones that really are the fun ones, I think, are the ones that you feel a chemistry with the other players. And we would see that on stage. We would watch the other players in Gordon's band, and we could tell they're having a lot of fun with this. That's one that they're really liking, Fading Away. They have a lot of fun when they would play that. And so we did too. There's some that I think are a little more on the difficult side. We would try them out. And if they didn't work out, well, then we move on. He's got such a collection in the catalog of great music. It's not hard to find fun songs. And, you're always going to have somebody come up to you afterwards and say, well, how come you didn't play this one? Well, we played that last year. We're not playing that this year, Oh, gee, well, I really like that. Well, all right. Next show, we'll say, hey, let's drop this one and we'll play that song that guy wanted. And then somebody comes up and say, well, how come you didn't play that one? People have their ones that they really hang their hat on.
Sure.
So you've always got the top 10 that are in every show. And then after that, we've got our favorite album cuts and we like to change it up. It's a challenge to mix it up a little, play something different. It keeps it interesting. It keeps it lively. And it gives us a chance to tell some fresh stories.
That brings me to another question. You said that you have in your repertoire, did you say 72 songs?
76.
76 songs. Okay. Well, that's a very substantial portion of the catalog. Is there one that you personally really are looking forward to bringing to the band and say, hey, guys, we've never tried this one? Is there one in particular you still dream about performing?
Well, there's one that I'd like to perfect, that I'd like to get better at doing, and I could do it as a solo, or we could do it with a full band, and that would be Nous Vivons Ensemble. I have a daughter who is bilingual, and she says, Dad, your French isn't good enough yet to do that. Try to phoneticize it a little bit better. I'm always playing around with that, thinking, well, maybe this year I'll try doing that. And it's not easy to slip into that unless you've really, really got the feel for what those words mean. And what a message. It's a terrific message that applied Canada's issues that they have had with French issue. And then look at America now. Doesn't that message ring true today? We've got to stay together. That's what that song's about.
Well, yeah, we live together, or we are living together. And my French is probably rustier than yours, but, I understood that much of it anyway. You talked about meanings in songs. I want to come back to that in just a second. One more question about what the tribute does. Are there any songs that you really had to fight to get into the set list, or was everybody pretty much saying, hey, Mike, whatever you want to do, let's go?
Well, I'm the director. I drive the bus. But at the same time, I think I'm enough of a democratic person to listen to whatever other people have to say. One song that always fascinated me that I really liked was Shellfish. There's a live version of it that Gordon used on the Harmony album, and I liked that. And the people in the band weren't as infatuated with it as I was. There's not much going on at all drum-wise. There's nothing there. The bass is very laid back. The lead guitar has a part. There's really not anything in it involving keyboards. It didn't have universal appeal, I guess. But when we did play it, people seemed to like it. They'd never heard it before. I guess that would fit that bill as far as having a little bit of resistance. Why are we doing this? I don't like that song as much as some of the others. We could do something else that would be a lot more fun. Let's all play Ghosts of Cape Horn. We'll have a big time with that. Well, yeah, of course we would. That's a wonderful song. A lot of fun to play.
So now let's talk about the messages or the meanings in songs. There are some songs that he has done that I think are fairly one-dimensional, but there are others that you find new meanings every time you sing them or every time you listen to them. You mentioned The Wreck, and that certainly has a perennial meaning to it. Are there any songs of his that you keep sort of rediscovering new depths of?
Well, I think when you listen to some of the love songs or some of the heartbreak songs, it allows you to imagine what must have been going through Gordon's mind. What was it that broke his heart so badly to make him sing something like That Same Old Obsession? What happened there? That's a touching statement in those lyrics to sing something like that. And when we play those, you're emoting, not just singing a song, you're telling a story. And Gordon was such a master storyteller. His songs told stories that really made you, Canadian Railroad Trilogy, there's one. It's got a story about immigrants, the fact that the railroad's being built. It's got the idea that people are risking their lives trying to build these train tracks, and they're dynamiting outsides of mountains and digging tunnels and building bridges across big rivers and going back into the town and drinking bad whiskey. Gordon would get that 12-string guitar going, and you could feel the wheels of that train just picking up speed as he's, over the mountains, and it just takes off. Something like that, I think, really has a lot of appeal.
Is there something about Lightfoot as an artist or as a person that you wish more people understood? And I should add that I'm not expecting you to do psychoanalysis of the man, but his music extremely well, and you had a chance to have some discourse with him. Is there something that I wish more people knew blank about Gordon Lightfoot and or his music?
Well, I think I would say to that it always impressed me how much he stayed true to himself. Here's a guy who was a big hit in Canada. And when his music began being played on the American radio stations and it really took off, he had the chance to really go what they would say big time. Promoters were telling him, you're not going to need to play the guitar anymore. You're going to stand there and just hold the microphone and sing. You can be like Kenny Rogers. You don't need the band anymore. You need to move to Los Angeles. And Gordon didn't want to do that. There were people that depended on him for their livelihood, and he was true to them. And he didn't want to move to Los Angeles. He stayed in Toronto. He stayed true to himself. That's where he got the inspiration, and that's where he was writing from. And he kept a good number of people on staff to make a living, and they were loyal to him, and he was loyal to them. And I think that's something that you don't find all the time in major music artistry. A lot of people don't run their business that way. They look out just for themselves. He looked out for everybody that was in his group.
He really did. And he was a very benevolent guy with his band, with the staff that worked for him. I can remember hearing stories that everybody flew first class where he could have just chosen, no, I'm going to fly first class and the rest of the group is going to fly coach. And I'm sure he paid them very well for everything that they did. You're listening to Carefree Highway Revisited. We'll be right back after a word from a podcast partner or two. 1 minute, you're a teacher preparing for the new school year. The next, you're transported to a fantastical realm shrouded in forgotten magic. The creatures around you think you're a long-vanished mage. You have no technology. You have no memory of how you got here and no idea how to get home. All you have is misplaced magic. Haladar, the Last Surveyor, is the new fantasy novel by acclaimed author Rob Perrier. Available now on Amazon.com and robperrier.com.
Hi, this is Audie Martello, the host of the Mostly Folk podcast, a 60-minute foray into the music we all love. You will hear newly released albums, classic folk, country, and bluegrass music, as well as some traditional music that may or may not be true to the genre. Sometimes irreverent, often opinionated, but always entertaining. You may even hear a radio magic trick every so often, as well as numerous interviews via Zoom and telephone with established as well as indie artists. Mostly Folk is available wherever you listen to podcasts, and always at mostlyfolk.org.
Now, Mike, you talked a little bit ago about this show is meant to bring you a little bit closer to Gordon Lightfoot and his music. Do you ever feel a little bit like you are a steward of his song, like you're keeping his music alive for the next generation or for people that would be our kids or people that would be their kids?
You got that right. I'm retired. This is my retirement job. This is all I do. My job now is to keep Gordon's music going. And he knew that. And the guys in the band knew that. And I think they appreciated that effort. That's what we're all about. We got to keep it going. People that are in the senior citizen category like that, and they're the ones that come to the shows. And I'm amazed. We've been playing a number of college towns, and I'm seeing a lot of younger people in the audience. It's a date night thing to come to our show. College students. I don't know if they heard that music in the car from their parents or from their grandparents, probably, but they appreciate it, and they seem to have really taken to a lot of the music, and they want to hear it, and they want to hear more about it. It's too bad that they aren't able to experience firsthand seeing Gordon live. But that's where we come in. You know, we can keep it going. We can give them the atmosphere. We can give them the songs, the music, the look, and try to present it in such a respectful way that people will understand that that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep his music going, trying to bring people a little bit closer to Gordon. And at the end of the show, I think that's where we know that we've done that, is when they express themselves that way, that, yeah, you did. You achieved that goal.
Thank you for saying that, because that is the reason this podcast got started, is to bring his music to the attention of people who never got a chance to see him in concert, maybe couldn't find his stuff on Spotify if they wanted to. But I've had a fair amount of guests that are my age or younger. I'm not quite in the senior citizen category, but I am old enough to say that Gordon was part of my childhood. So I'm really very pleased that we're having this conversation about it. Let's talk just a little bit more about the band. What is the status of the band right now? You said that you'd been working on this project for about 15 years. We're coming out here in early December 2025, and although I've never been in Michigan, I can imagine that it's a little bit cold there and probably will be for some time. What is the band's schedule? I mean, are they on hiatus now? Are they going to come back in the spring? Are you touring now? What's going on with the Lightfoot tribute?
Well, as we speak, we've got probably 17 inches of snow on the ground right now.
Oh, goodness gracious.
The temperature tomorrow is supposed to be in the single digits. It's supposed to be very cold tomorrow. So, yeah, we're on hiatus. I don't like to travel when the weather's like this. I don't like loading in and loading out of a theater when you've got snow drifts that you have to shovel away. So we usually play right up until the November 10th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Sometimes we'll squeeze in one more theater around that time because it's such a popular time to hear Lightfoot's music. We did that again this year, and we played right up till November the 15th. The last 8 shows, the last 8 theaters that we played were sold out. Then we're done. We're on hiatus for the winter. I have traveled south in the past, played in southern states as a solo. We usually will get together in May and start rehearsals, and we'll rehearse the whole month of May, and then June 1, here we go. and then we take off and we play for the summer and into the fall. So that's the schedule that we normally keep. Gordon would play year round when he was touring, but he would go to places like Florida. He'd be in Florida in January or February. I don't think he enjoyed the winter travels as much either. Of course, a lot of his travel was on a Learjet, but the crew would be on a bus and on a semi full of equipment. It's impractical to be in the north when the weather's bad. So you try to make it easy on yourself and on your audience too to come out and see. I remember how scared I was that first night when they told me that the snow is blowing like crazy outside and there's nowhere to park and people are lined up all the way down the street. I was amazed that they bothered to come in to see the show, but I was so grateful they did, because that's when I realized that, hey, I can do this and people like it. So let's keep doing it. Let's keep going. So that's the mission now. That seems to work well with all the other players because everybody likes to have a little break, gives us some time to mount some momentum and get ready to go for the next year.
Where will you be touring this late spring, summer, fall of 26? You mentioned being south and heading to southern states. So are you going to be following the same circuit again, or are you going to be coming out in my direction?
Well, the farthest west that we've gone in the United States would be Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. But then last year, we did go to Alberta, and we played in Lethbridge and Medicine Hat and Calgary and Edmonton. And we're going to be going back there. Whether it's in 2026 or the following year remains to be seen. But those look like they were strong markets for us. And we're going to go back to Western Canada and hopefully be able to get all the way out to British Columbia and play in Vancouver. As far as the West Coast, we've always had a lot of encouragement to come to Arizona. We've never been able to put it together, but we've always heard, oh, there's so many Canadians in Arizona in the wintertime. Well, that'd be fun. We'd like to do that. It's quite a thing to assemble a tour schedule. You can't just go for one show. You've got to have several shows to make it feasible.
Sure.
So it takes time to put these things together. And if you have the right contacts and you have the right scheduling, you can do it. And so that'd be fun. We'd love to do that. We have not been as far east as I would like to go. I think we've got a lot of potential in places like Pennsylvania and Maryland and upstate New York, places like that we have not been to. And when we meet people at shows that say that they came from those places and they want us to come there, it's not just about booking one show. You've got to put together a whole tour. The impetus is there, the interest is there, and the desire is there. Now it's just a matter of getting down to the nitty-gritty and actually putting it together and selling it. I like to go to places in person and visit places and speak to people. I think it's a lot better than sending an email or sending something in the mail. Sadly, I've run into places where I've gone into a theater and spoken with somebody who's in charge of booking, and they have told me, I'm sorry, who is Gordon Lightfoot? It's somebody who's in their late 20s and they just don't know. And so I have to tell them, this is what it's about. This is what it is. And usually they'll connect with somebody else in their management team that says, oh, yeah, this would be good. There's that too. It's an aging audience, isn't it? And now that Gordon's gone, that's our job to keep that interest alive.
I want to see you guys play. And if you come anywhere near the West Coast, even to Vancouver, it sounds like it's worth a special trip.
Gordon said the last time I saw him, I was talking about the success that his daughter, Meredith, is having as an artist.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of his children were reconciled and he was getting along very well with everybody and seemed to have mended a lot of fences. And he said, I just want to leave a clean campsite. I thought, what a cool way to put it. But I think he did leave a clean campsite. We're interested in trying to spread that kind of goodwill with his music.
I wanted to thank you, Mike Fornes, for being with me on the podcast today. It has been an absolute joy. I'm excited about the band. I'm excited about seeing you guys play sometime, and I'm really excited about having you on the show again real soon.
Hey, it was fun. Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Well, our next episode will feature my guest, Jack Ward from Nova Scotia. He'll be making his second appearance on the show, and he and I will be discussing the song Alberta Bound from the 1972 Don Quixote album. That episode will be coming out in January 2026. You can find all our episodes on www.lightfootpodcast.com, and I hope you'll tell someone about the show and give it a positive review wherever you get your listening matter. Until we meet again, this is Mike Messner reminding you, run for the roses, but don't forget to stop and smell them. We'll see you next time along the Carefree Highway.